India's working class has time and again stood united, unwavering, and has used its collective bargaining strength through impactful general strikes since the arrival of LPG, that's liberalization, privatization, and globalization in 1991. Successive governments in the past 3 decades have witnessed 18 massive general strikes since economic liberalization.
ये जो नए नीति ये देश को बचाएंगे नहीं, देश को खत्म कर देंगे। नए रोजगार बनेगा नहीं, जो रोजगार में रहने वाले लोग वो रोजगार खोएंगे। नए इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा नहीं, जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है वो भाग जाएंगे। हम जो उत्पादन के ताकत बनाया पिछले 70 साल के आजादी के बाद, उसको डिस्ट्रॉय करने के जो लाइन लिया है उसको अगर रोका ना जाए, हमारे भविष्य प्रजन्म के लिए कुछ बचेंगे।
The last such pan-India strike was seen on January 8 and 9 this year, which saw participation from about 20 crore workers from across India. To put it into perspective, this number is equivalent to half the population of the United States. It accounts for more than the combined populations of the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. The workers' action had drawn countrywide support and solidarity with various forms of protest action by people from other walks of life, particularly farmers and agricultural workers. This period has witnessed 2 countrywide general strikes on September 2nd in 2015 and in 2016, joined by over 15 crore workers, both from the organized and unorganized sectors.
मैं हूँ मालिक, चेहरा मेरा एक नहीं है, इरादे मेरे नेक नहीं है, मजदूरों के क्या है सोचूं, बस में आए तो चमड़ी नोचूं.
There were also numerous agitations and strike actions in various sectors: banking, insurance, telecom, coal, steel, road transport, engineering, electricity, various PSUs, defense production, central and state government employees, in a number of multinational companies and in the private sector as well. During this period, workers in various central government schemes, particularly Anganwadi employees, Asha and midday meal workers, had been and are still involved in consistent struggles at both the national and the state level, including indefinite strike action in some states.
13 जिला ही बाकी है जो एनजीओ को नहीं दिया गया है, जहां एनजीओ से भी खाना बनवाया जा रहा है, जहां उनको 600 रुपये का महीना दिया जा रहा है.
Construction workers also resorted to a number of agitations and a massive strike at the national level. Also notable has been the 3-day-long Mahapadav before Parliament session in November 2017, where 2.8 lakh workers participated.
हल चला के खेतों को मैंने ही सजाया रे, हल चला के खेतों को मैंने ही सजाया रे, गेहूं चावल मक्के के दानों को उगाया रे, गेहूं चावल मक्के के दानों को उगाया रे, चूल्हा भी जलाया रे, धान को पकाया रे, चूल्हा भी जलाया रे, धान को पकाया रे, रहूं क्यों भूखे पेट रे कि मेरे लिए काम नहीं, रहूं क्यों भूखे पेट रे कि मेरे लिए काम नहीं।
2015 2nd September strike was a very big success, unprecedented. Around 15 crore workers have participated in that strike. 2017 there was a very big Mahapadav in which lakhs of workers have participated from across the country. It was also an unprecedented form of struggle. For 3 days, all the central trade unions except BMS have called this Mahapadav, and from morning 9 to evening 5, 3 days continuously, lakhs of workers have participated from all the states, including Jammu Kashmir to Kerala, what we say Kashmir to Kanyakumari, like that, and from northeast states to Gujarat, Punjab, etc., Maharashtra.
Rajiv Gandhi was at the helm of India's drive to integrate with world markets in the 1980s. The integration was only publicly announced in 1991 when the government decided to open up the economy to the turbulent interests of global capital. Workers and employees of the country protested against the economic and industrial policies of the Government of India. State-wise, industry-wise and area-wise, joint conventions were held throughout the nation.
In 1991, during Narasimha Rao government, the then Finance Minister Manmohan Singh introduced neoliberal economic policy in our country. That neoliberal economic policy changed the whole trajectory of economic development of our country. Our basic foundation economy for the growth of the country was 1956 Industrial Policy Resolution adopted by the Parliament. This neoliberal economic policy has 3 features. One is globalization, liberalization, and the privatization. All for capital. Liberalization for capital, globalization for capital, and privatization for the private capital. So these 3 new features brought immense problems for the people as well as the working class. So trade union movement has to face a new situation as resist this.
The impact of the neoliberal policy regime on the lives and livelihoods of people was seen in mass-scale informalization and contractualization of the workforce, increasing unemployment, job losses, rising prices, deliberate non-implementation and non-enforcement of labor laws, an attack on labor rights, and a desperate move towards privatization and disinvestment of public sector undertakings and public utility services, attacking working class people who were on the path of organized struggle and agitation both at a sectoral and a national plane.
When Modi came, he was in a hurry to implement this neoliberal economic policy more aggressively. Trade union movement required a united platform to resist this neoliberal economic policy. So all CI2 made efforts to bring all central trade unions. First came the left trade unions. Then after the left trade unions, with our efforts, the Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh also joined us, our platform. And lastly to come was INTUC also came with us.
With the BJP government in power in the centre, a drastic change has come about in the situation. Not only are the same anti-people and pro-corporate policies being pursued by the BJP government with much more aggressiveness, but these are being accompanied by an increasingly authoritarian onslaught to stifle any opposition or dissent, trampling underfoot constitutional values and principles.
In 2015, the BMS has came out. It has deserted the joint trade union movements after the BJP government came to power. Even in formulating all these demands, BMS was part of the demands. And BMS has campaigned and joined the strike also. But 4 days before 2015, 2nd September general strike, the government called a meeting of the central trade unions, and after the meeting, BMS said that the government was thinking positively, though no demand the government has accepted, whether it is the minimum wages, whether it is labor law amendments or effective implementation, contractualization, no demand has been properly, no positive response has come from the government.
Simultaneously, it has resorted to the poisonous, divisive strategy seeking to sharpen communal and other types of polarization in society on the basis of caste, creed, and various other parochial values. This is integral to the government's aim of sustaining its present rule, as well as exploiting the very classes that the unions represent. Over the past 3 years, along with the united and sustained struggles by the workers, farmers' struggles came up in a big way. Their struggles, be it in the context of land acquisition, loan waivers, remunerative prices for their produce, and other factors, exposed the total fraud of the BJP regime before the people. The upsurge of farmers' struggles in Maharashtra and the long march from Nasik to Mumbai at the initiative of the All India Kisan Sabha, farmers' struggle in MP, Rajasthan, and other states are some of the notable farmers' movements which have added momentum to the people's movement against the Modi regime.
In the name of deregulation, in the name of less governance, it is not less governance. What is actually happening is attacks on the workers. The government is intervening for the benefit of the capitalist class. So, earlier the government, at least on the paper and to some extent, it was intervening on behalf of the people and the workers. But now totally on the paper and in practice, and they are openly saying that only thing is attracting investment. The main thing is to attract investment, you have to curtail the workers' rights and make concessions to them. So, every year lakhs of crores of rupees of concessions are being given to the crorepati. So, that is why the inequalities are increasing.
Concerted and coordinated joint agitations by workers and peasants also marked a beginning during this phase of the struggle, which in sequence include countrywide August 9, 2018 jail bharo on farmers' demands by the AIKS, joined by CITU, AIAWU in around 600 locations in 394 districts, and participated in by more than 5 lakh peasants and workers. Mazdoor Kisan Sangharsh rally before Parliament on September 5, 2018 with above 2 lakh participation. Kisan Mukti March on November 29th and 30th, 2018 in New Delhi, joined by thousands of farmers and others. November 30th, workers staging demonstrations in most of the state capitals in solidarity with farmers and in support of their demands. And preparatory countrywide campaigns for all these programs starting in April, focusing on reaching the unreached sections of people exposing the anti-people neoliberal regime. According to a study in 2011-12, 77.5% of the total workforce in the organized manufacturing sector had no written contracts. Another 2.43% had a written contract for only less than a year. Only 17.41% of the total workers had written contracts for more than 3 years. More than 70% of all regular salaried workers in the organized sector had no written contract at all. The condition of women workers was even worse. 91% had no written contract in 2011-12. Only 6.3% had written contracts for more than 3 years. 60% of the regular workers were not eligible for social security benefits like Provident Fund, pension, healthcare, etc., with women workers being in even worse conditions than male workers. The BJP's diversionary, divisive and authoritarian strategies met with some success to begin with. This was reflected in several assembly election victories and the BJP gaining power in a majority of states. But the situation changed gradually thereafter. In recent assembly elections, the BJP's defeat in the Hindi heartland, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Rajasthan, its failure to capture power in Karnataka despite several dubious efforts, its defeat in 10 Lok Sabha seats that it had won in 2014 in states such as Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh where it had existing state governments, indicates that change is coming. The BJP's diversionary and divisive strategies have not met expectations. Ram Mandir construction, cow vigilantism, and other populist measures are not major issues influencing the people in their favor. Instead, people have been moved by severe farmers' distress, mass unemployment and loss of livelihood, rampant inflation, and these are the issues which have led to a rejection of the BJP across these states.
Now, across the world, you see, such struggles are taking place where the neoliberal policies themselves are discredited. It is found that they are not sustainable. The crisis is continuing, and the crisis is also a part of the neoliberal policies, because of the neoliberal policies. So the struggles are going on the same demands against the pension reforms, against the labor reforms, demanding minimum wages, social security.
The anger and resentment of the people joining the struggles had initially mainly focused on the suffering and losses that they had been subjected to. It was not generally directed consciously against the policy regime and the politics behind those policies. As a result, despite changes in government at the centre a number of times since 1991, the direction of economic policy continues to be the same.
Because of this resistance, one demand was no labor law changes, the other was no privatization of defense, insurance and railways. These are the three basic features where no difference. These are the two demands added during Modi's time. So 10-point demands became 12-point demands. And today we are fighting against these 12-point demands. Because of this resistance, though Modi said that 4 codes will be prepared out of 44 labor laws, but yet not a single code could be passed during 4.5 years because of this resistance. Not a single code. So our labor law remains as before protected, and on the contrary, we are trying to improve the labor laws in favor of the workers.
Particularly though there have been disinvestment etc., the wholesale privatization, particularly after the BJP government has come, they have appointed the Niti Aayog with the mandate to give the list and for strategic sale, total sale etc. closure. But till now they have tried, but they could not succeed.
Over the past few years, clear political demands have emerged from the workers' front. These demands include throwing out the anti-worker Modi government. There's a growing realization that policies need to change and that the government is unwilling to make these changes. But this is not just a threat to the Modi government. It is also a warning to any government that might take its place in the centre in the future. If the government does not adopt a pro-worker, a pro-employee, pro-labor stance, they will continue to face the heat.
हमको कोई हरा नहीं सकता है, मजदूर वर्ग को कोई हरा नहीं सकता है। वो आगे पीछे करना पड़ता है कभी कभी, लेकिन अल्टीमेटली हम आगे ही जाएंगे। क्यों? ना मजदूर कर्मचारी इस देश को जिंदा रखता है।